right, these are the notes, part 1 for the big DNA fold out. We're going to do it one page at a time, so you're going to need this page first that says DNA nucleotide and RNA nucleotide at the top. You're also going to need something to write with, and you're going to need these specific colors of things. Yes, you do need these colors because we are color coding, so that when we make our model later, you'll be able to see the parts easily. So you need a yellow, green, orange, this is a pink, and a blue. Okay, so we're gonna start with number 1, which is, that's a little too far, the DNA nucleotide. Okay, so the DNA nucleotide is a monomer. And this is something that we should all know from the previous unit. That is the building block of something else, a single unit. So this is a single unit of a DNA strand. Okay, DNA comes in 2 strands. Then the nitrogenous base can be one of 4 bases. Okay, and then we're going to list them here. Adenine, it looks like 9s, but they're not 9s, they're neens. Thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Okay, so over here you're going to put a star, and you're going to put that the nucleotide has 3 parts, and the 3 parts together form a single nucleotide. So over here we have number 1, which is the phosphate. Down here we have number 2, which is deoxyribose, and this is a sugar, so you need to label that as a sugar. And this is number 3, the nitrogenous base. Okay, so we're going to color them. Now the phosphate and the sugar, they form the outsides, so we're going to color them the same color. So the phosphate and the sugar, they're in the same place, so we're going to go ahead and just color them the same color. Okay, and then they're connected together. So that's our phosphate and our sugar. Then our third part, which is the nitrogen or nitrogenous base, this can be any of these right here. So it can be an adenine, it can be a thymine, it can be, sorry, lost my yellow for a second, a cytosine, or it could be a guanine. That's a pink. Okay, so those are our 4 bases that go with DNA. Now, under here, we'll mark that this part can be different or differ, and depending on the base. Okay, so there's a very important word that you guys need to know, which is complementary. And complementary just means that it's 2 things that match or go together. Like your right and left shoes, they are not identical, they are complementary. Your right and left hands also are not identical, they're complementary. These 2 are complementary, adenine and thymine, and then cytosine and guanine are also complementary. Okay, they always go together. All right, the last thing that we're going to write down about our DNA nucleotide is that the sugar and the phosphate form the outside of the DNA strand. Okay, so like I said, DNA has two parts. It's like two like this, and it goes across. This sugar and the phosphate, this is the outside portion of our DNA. Okay, now when we were talking about my biomolecules, we also mentioned an example of a nucleic acid is an RNA. So we're going to talk just very briefly about RNA, because RNA is very similar and also different in an important way from DNA. Okay, so RNA nucleotide, this is still a monomer, and this also still has three parts. Whoops. Okay, we have our number 1 phosphate, our number 2 ribose, which is also a sugar, it's just a different kind of sugar, and our number 3 nitrogen base. Okay, again, we're going to color them so you see it's very similar to DNA. We have the phosphate, and then we have a sugar. This sugar, however, is different. This is ribose, whereas DNA has deoxyribose. This is the D in DNA. This is the R in RNA. And then we have our nitrogen base, which can be, again, can be different. Bases, different bases. Okay, so it's similar, but not the same to DNA. All right, so ways it's similar. This is a single unit of an RNA strand. One difference is that RNA is only a single strand. It makes it much smaller, which is going to be important later on. Okay, DNA has 2. It has one different base. Than DNA. We're going to list them here. Okay, so it has adenine, which is the same, but then instead of thymine, it has uracil, and then the other 2 are the same, cytosine and guanine. So I'm going to color code them. Ooh. We're going to put uracil as like a stripy orange because it still matches with adenine, but it is different from thymine, which is why your body knows it's RNA and not DNA, because that would get confusing. If you had tiny little strands that were exactly the same, your body would be like so confused. This way, it can keep things organized. Again, these 2 are the complementary bases. Complementary. And these 2 are the complementary bases. They always go together in RNA. So it's very important that you remember that this is for RNA only. Okay, and then the same here, the sugar and the phosphate form the outside of the RNA strand. Okay, so this is the basic nucleotide, which is the monomer of a nucleic acid, which is part of the biomolecules that we talked about before. These 3 things together make a single monomer. Okay, now we're going to focus on the bases. So we're going to go down here to where it says purines. And purines have similar shapes, so they cannot connect together or bond. Okay? You'll notice they each have 2 bubbles. Now you'll see here this part's different, and then over here this part's different, which is why they connect with these things. But these 2 can never ever go together. Okay, never, ever, ever, ever. Like the Taylor Swift song. Okay, so we're gonna color this blue because our A is for adenine. And then our G, we're gonna color pink. And this is our guanine, okay? Now, the pyrimidines have the complementary shape to the purines. They're the ones that match the purines. So when you have the 2's here, and it matches one of the ones over here. This one, you're gonna label RNA only. And this one is cytosine, uracil, and thymine. Okay. Oh. All right. Cytosine is yellow, so we're gonna color cytosine yellow. Uracil is we're gonna color it like a dashed orange because it's not the same as thymine, which is orange, but it is very similar. Okay. All right. So just a quick here are the parts that we just talked about. This is our deoxyribose sugar. And then we have a phosphate group that would connect to here. And then over here on the side, it could either be thymine, adenine, guanine, or cytosine. Okay? So when we make our models, these are the colors that we're going to be using. Watch the next video for part 2.